Hey, what is up, guys? It is Harrison Barron, the Millennial Entrepreneur. Thank you guys so much for checking out my channel. Now, if you're in sales or you're a small business owner and you're looking for an obscure way to either make some more money or make some more sales or get in front of your target customer, then this channel's for you. Now, I've done a ton of stuff on LinkedIn, and on this next series of videos, I'm doing a ton of stuff on podcasting. And the reason why is because these have been tremendous revenue generators for my business. I'm not just saying this because I think it sounds cool. I'm saying it because it's funny, because I have part-time employees and they're like, where do we get this client? And I'm always like, oh, it started from the podcast. It started from the podcast. So in today's video, I actually want to tie my two favorite things together. So that is LinkedIn and that is podcasting. And really, what do they have in common between the two of them and what you need to know so that way you can make way more sales, way more money, and stay in front of your target market. So a couple things that you're going to run into if you have a podcast is, where do you find guests? Guests are impossible to find. They're super hard to get a hold of. They're not always who you think they are. And on top of that, you might be turning stones that you didn't know were there, and you're looking in places that your target guest isn't living. So this is where LinkedIn comes into play. Now, there's a couple different things that I've taught on LinkedIn on how to find your target customer, and this is exactly what you're going to be doing to find your target guest on your show. So stay tuned, because we're about to dive deep into it. So if you're looking for more guests, the easiest place for you to start is simply going to your LinkedIn network. And this is my favorite thing because they join so well together. If you're looking for more guests and you're looking for higher quality guests, it is a no-brainer to go directly to your LinkedIn. Now, you could do different tactics and find different people, especially if you're on Zoom. It's very easy to find people for a Zoom podcast. They're very easy to get a hold of. It's a little bit more difficult, in my opinion, to build a long-lasting relationship, but if it is something that you're interested in, it's a great resource to start. But this is where the magic happens. The magic happens in if you've already had a guest. So let's say you've done a podcast now and you've had 10 people on your show. I think anybody that's willing to start a podcast probably knows at least 10 people that could be on their show at any given time. The benefit of this is I'm hoping that you're connecting with your guests on social media. Now, this tip and trick works well for any social media platform, Instagram and Facebook, but I like LinkedIn just because it's a more professional atmosphere. Now, if you connect with your guest on LinkedIn, you have immediately grown your network by obviously one person, but a potential series of new people. Now, if you go on and say, hey, let's just say you're a CPA and you're looking to have other CPAs join you on your podcast, right? Because not only are they a power partner and they can give you business, but ultimately you want to educate your clients and their clients on different ways that CPAs can help the business, right? So it's so easy, if you already connected with your CPA on LinkedIn, to go to their connections and search CPAs. Now, that's the more labor-intensive way to do it, but the easiest way to do it is, hey, I'm going to use my friend Josh. He's been on my podcast before. Hey, Josh, I know you've been on my podcast before. I'm sure you have a bunch of CPA friends. Would you mind inviting those CPA friends to connect with me? Or do you have anybody that stands out in your mind that would be a really, really good podcast guest for my show? Now, the secret weapon to a podcast is this right here. It is a microphone. And this microphone, when used properly, can extract any amount of information from somebody possible. Trust me, I know, because people have told me on numerous occasions I need to go back and delete a segment of my podcast because nobody is allowed to know that. This little weapon right here is far more deadly than anything could be to somebody's career. The best part about this is also the best friendship maker there is on the market. The reason is because you're going to have people on your podcast, and those people are going to hang out and enjoy your company. When they begin to know, like, and trust you, you can then ask them for introductions. To who? None other than your ideal guests. So that is why this little tool right here is so incredibly important. Now, you might be thinking, Harrison, well, maybe I haven't connected with those people. So as soon as this YouTube video is over, you need to go out and you need to go connect with those people on Facebook or LinkedIn. If it's been a little while since they've been on your show, do yourself a favor. Go reach out to them. Hey, man, hope everything's really well. I want to check in with you on a couple different things. One, if you're willing to have them back on as a guest, I'd love to have you back on my podcast. I think it was a really good time. Number two, while you're considering that, I do need a couple more people on my podcast as guests. Do you happen to know anyone? Very, very rare that somebody doesn't come up with anybody. The catch with this is you don't know the person yet, and I love to vet people before they come on my podcast. I've had a couple flops. I've had more than a couple flops, and those podcasts just sadly don't get aired because they don't meet my level of quality that I would prefer to share out with my viewers. It doesn't mean that they're bad people, and nobody has to feel bad. I usually just send them a message and say, hey, love the podcast. It's just not for my audience. I hope everything's okay, and I don't want to share it. Even those people are sometimes willing to share with other people, or they might say, hey, can you send it to me in a direct message? I'd love to listen to it, which I have before. And they share it out with their friends and family. This gets you notoriety. It's going to get you more subscribers. And ultimately, somebody that listens to that show may want to come on. Now, the third way, or I think second or third way, to get more people on your podcast is to say in the beginning of the show, and this is like an industry secret that nobody knows, ask people to reach out. It sounds so silly, but think about it, right? You don't open doors in certain buildings because they say do not enter. But you could probably enter it if somebody just said, hey, you can go enter it. Or like, feel free to open that door, right? Same exact thing. If you have one of these, you have been granted permission to talk about a lot of different things, right? Hey, this is the Brutally Honest Podcast. I'm your host, Harrison Barron. And in today's episode, I would love to talk to you, about how a podcast can change your business. And if you're somebody that has a cool business story or something interesting, I want to hear it from you. Reach out to me. Go to visit my website, brutallyhonestpodcast.com, and search contact. Type in your information. I'd love to speak to you about getting you on the show and sharing out your story. Boom. Mic drop, right? I'm not going to drop the mic because that's just mean. But either way, that's a really, really easy way to let people know, oh my God, he's looking for guests, right? If you've had other CPAs on the show and you're looking for more CPAs, chances are pretty good those CPAs have shared it out with their CPA friends. One of those CPA friends is probably subscribed and might want to be on a podcast. So along with you asking that person to share it out, you might say, hey, reach out to me. And that person might. I have had people reach out to me and say, I would love to be on your show. It is so simple to just say that one little thing in your opener or closer, or even mention it casually in your show because it's none other than your show, and say, hey, by the way, do you happen to know anybody on the show? I'd love to hear about it. They might name drop 10 people. Now it puts them in the hot seat to follow through, and you in the hot seat to follow through as well. This is simply the easiest way to find new people. The other great way that I really, really like, and a lot of people kind of think it's weird, is adding them on Facebook. If you add somebody on Facebook and say, hey man, I want to just connect with you on a personal basis, I think it'd be cool, and you begin to interact with all of their stuff, guess who they're going to think about all the time? You, right? This is all about you. This isn't about me. I already have a show. I've done 140-something episodes. This whole thing is about you and getting you more viewers, more subscribers, and more guests. Right? So think about it. Wouldn't you want those people to be on your show again if it was a good podcast? Connect with them on a personal basis. Interact with them on a regular time. And then when you're ready to have them on, shoot them a message. Hey, can we grab some time on the calendar for you to come back on the show? Just make sure they had a good time, and I promise you, they are going to say yes. A lot of the times, and it's not uncommon, that you're their first podcast they've ever been on. If they've been on it once, it's like riding a bicycle without training wheels. The second time's easier, and the third time they really, really, really love it. Once again, this is something that is all too familiar with me because this is something I've done with my podcast guests. It's the easiest podcast hack out there to get guests to come on and to bring in new people on a regular basis. Other than that, with removing social media as a platform, the other way to find your podcast guests is simply, if you don't connect with them on LinkedIn, just shoot them a text message. Hey man, hope everything's well. Fire up your cell phone. Hope everything's well. I need a new podcast guest. Do you happen to know anybody with an interesting story? Trust me, CPAs didn't just go to college by themselves. They went with 20, 30, 50, 100 other people. They probably all know each other and still keep in touch. Now, are they located near you? That's a whole nother problem to figure out. But chances are pretty good they're more than happy to offer up one of their friends and say, hey, I have this perfect friend. He's super outgoing. He'd kill it on your show. That is who you want. All right? That's it. That's all I got on how to find guests. It's worked really, really well for me. These are the simple techniques I've used. I haven't reached out to random people. I've always kind of asked my podcast network, hey, do you have anybody for this, or do you have anybody for this? It almost always works out. And most of the time, I make a new connection, and that person is really, really cool. Especially if I like my podcast guests, chances are pretty good it's always going to go in the right direction. So I hope this video helps. I want you to go start getting better guests. Heck, if you want me as a guest, send me a message, leave a comment down below and say, hey, I'd love to have you as a guest on my podcast. I would love to join your show and check it all out. I have a ton of experience in a lot of things. I think it would be really, really cool. Other than that, I hope you guys hit the subscribe button. Hit the little like button for you're going to hit the little like button so that way we could dominate the podcast algorithm and the YouTube algorithm. But ultimately, to help your other podcasters, right? This video is extremely informative to get you to find more guests. So let's end it on that. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and hit the little notification bell so you never miss an opportunity to grow your podcast, grow your sales, and learn something online. I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then,